Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Lando's Lessons. Happy to be back. It's been a minute, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks. It's been a busy 2 weeks, I'll tell you that much. Uh, Change of jobs. Got to connect with some grandparents I haven't seen in person in quite a while. Um, some family shit, but it's been a good 2 weeks, and with all that as well. I was trying to think of what I want to talk about last week, and I had an idea, and I wasn't ready to speak on it because I wanted to flesh it out in my head first. But lo and behold, something else popped up as well. So I'll probably do a twofer and drop them both if I can. But yeah, let's go ahead and get to it. So today I was visiting and chilling out with the family and those grandparents I mentioned. And my nana, my grandmother, is incredible woman, highly intelligent, faith fueled, faith driven, an intellectual in every way, shape, and form. But for a few years now, she's had some issues that have stemmed from some knee issues, and she hasn't been able to walk as effectively, and it's gotten progressively worse, to the point that we had plans and had to cancel said plans because we were worried about her being able to actually enjoy herself due to this knee injury. And what we decided to do, now that she was in person with us and my fam is in the medical field and had some connections, and hit up a old friend of hers who happens to do physical therapy. And today she went through and tested her mobility, how the knee is reacting, range of movement, things of that nature, just doing a typical checkup. And it turns out that these years of being hobbled to for lack of a better word, and having a hindrance in her everyday life and activities was absolutely all mental. She has full range of motion. She can do whatever she needs to do, but it's all right up here, right up here in the skull, that good old brain of ours. And it got me thinking, what else is that little devil, this little brain right here, doing to hinder us? Like I said, she's highly intelligent. She knows God and praises Him and worships Him, and she loves her family. She's had her journey, but she loves her family and appreciates and values them. And, years of being hobbled and having issues, which have gotten progressively worse, were all in her head. It is a mental block. What else are we suffering through? That's all right up here. The self doubt, the feeling of being a failure, feeling that you're not worthy of love, feeling that you're not intelligent, having to depend on other sources of what can be addictions: food, alcohol, caffeine, drugs. How many of those are all stemming from right up here? What you say to yourself really does matter. When I found out, the first thing I said was the brain is a hell of a thing. And it made me think back. And while I have my issues, so many of them stem, and the catalysts of which come from this guy up here. You you can be affected through outside resources. I wasn't surrounded by the best people. I wasn't doing the best things as far as making active um, t- t- making active decisions to try to change my situation. But at the end of the day, the one thing that was consistent was this guy right here, beating myself up, having all the self-doubt in the world, having zero self-esteem, to the point where depression, suicidal thoughts and attempts um, can, get in there. And if you're not careful, if you don't have the support system, if you can't find that why that I've mentioned before, of why you should keep going, it can take you away in that brief instance. The funniest thing about when people attempt or have sadly lost their lives, and I say funny in not a literal way, but it's ironic how it always comes up. You hear people around them say, "Oh, well, they were always smiling. They always lit up a room." And lo and behold, they were suffering. They were going through hell. And it's, once again, right here. Be kind to yourself. You never know whatsoever how so much of your pain stems from just overthinking, from ruminating, from letting what others have said to you affect you. Hurt people hurt people. Let me say it again. Hurt people hurt people. What that person said to you doesn't mean it is going to truly affect you unless you believe that it affects you. As my mom would say, "Oh, they weren't talking to me. They were calling me out my name." That's not my name. if it doesn't apply, let it fly. That's a good way of putting it. I love that line. So whether it's self-inflicted or whether it's from outside resources, how you respond to it, that's going to determine the result. How you decide to see things, that's going to determine the result. Your perspective is everything. I would not have gotten to where I am without a change of perspective, without sitting down and facing demons and looking them square in the fucking eyes and saying, enough is enough. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. I'm done with the drinking. I'm done with trying to escape and find temporary relief in a dopamine hit so that I can feel normal. I'm done masking and hiding my emotions so I can try to fit in. My main goal is to live an authentic life. One that I can help other people find that. One in which I can save them time and hopefully struggles and heartache and pain and depression and just feeling like you're crippled, because I can let them know, hey, I've been there and this is how I got out of it. Everyone's different, but at least you'll have a sense of perspective. So, finding out that my Nana, basically what she's been going through for years, was all in her head. And I pray that I'm there for her so that we can get her back to where she needs to be, so that we can put forth the effort. But it just made me reflect on how many other things all start from here. And it's not just negative. So many positives start from right up there. How you see it, how you think about it, your perspective, how you react to situations. Everyone says that this and this and this is out of my control. That might be fine. This guy in the White House is doing this. The government is doing this. My family is doing this. My job is doing this. But how are you reacting to it? What are you doing to make sure that the few things that you have control over are being reflected in a healthy way? No matter how big something is outside of your control, because there are uncontrollables, the one thing that you have control over every single time is how you decide to react to it. I pray that my Nana puts in the work and gets over this mental block. But just like when it came to my alcoholism, just when it came to my addictions, just when it came to my depression, it took one step, and that was admitting enough was enough. in changing this thinking process. There are certain things in life that you can have all the support in the world. You can have people rooting for you, cheering you on, checking on you. But if you aren't ready to make the changes, they're never going to come. They're never going to come. Relapse is a expectation. Let's just face it. Especially when you're breaking habits that have been years long, decades long, over a decade in my case. And it all came to a head. It all came to an end when I said enough was enough. When I flipped that switch in my head and said no more. Think about the things in your life that you don't agree with, that are a hindrance to you, that have you feeling like you're in quicksand and can't escape. What are you thinking when it comes to those things? What are you actively doing to avoid those things? It all starts with this. Don't let the mind keep you in places you don't want to be. Because the very catalyst that gets you going, that gets you moving, that gets you to the spot that you want to be at in your ideal goals and dreams is that one decision that, nah, I'm done. Nah, this is unacceptable. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that it changes. Whether it's my Nana and her walking, whether it was me and my alcoholism, my depression. I if I didn't look those things eye to eye, if I didn't look at the man in the mirror and say, okay, enough is enough with the drinking, cut it out. Okay, you're depressed. You have moments where you literally can't get out of bed for a week and a half. Okay, these things aren't normal. I thought they were normal. I thought people went through that. But these things aren't normal. How can I change it? I sought help. I answered questions that I didn't know existed. I was diagnosed with a few mental disorders. But because I took that step, I was able to confront that demon head on and actively make a change. Medication, therapy, connecting with family, and being true and honest. Because I'm blessed enough to have that. Not everyone does. But at the end of the day, you can't do it all yourself. But you can start things by yourself. And that comes with, right up there, making the decision that I'm done, that enough's enough, that this situation is not okay. Will it come with pain? Hell yes. That's the journey that we all go through. But is it worth it in the end? With 100% certainty, I can say yes, it is. I'm proud of the man I am. I couldn't have said that years ago. I love my family. Couldn't say that years ago. I'm excited for the future. I couldn't say that years ago. I want to find my love. I couldn't say that years ago. I wasn't worthy of it in my head. These things all changed the moment I decided to address them right where it matters. So, think about the things that are blots in your life, the things that you despise in your life, the things that if you had one wish from the Dragon Balls and you could change it, where does that thinking and that process come from? What does it stem from? What is your hindrance from making that change? Make the change mentally, and you'll see that, as ironic as it is, as cliche as it is, your dreams can come true. Because otherwise, if you can't decide, that it's going to happen. It just never will. No one can change that but yourself. So, please continue to reflect on what I said today. Look in your mental and try to decide whether or not you have control over it and what you can do to make the changes. And if it's out of your control, how do you react to it? And why do you react that way? Let's get healthy together. Let's be our best versions of ourselves together. Because it's a process, but you are not alone in this. You are loved, you are valued, and I care deeply about you being the best version of yourself. Because that's going to make the world a much better place. Stay strong, stand on your conviction, and face that man, woman in the mirror. Face those demons head on, and you'll be shocked just how far you can come. Much love as always. I appreciate y'all. Leave a comment, like, whatever, and I'll see you next time. Peace.